large majority of you actually. So my name is Diddy, in case you want me to refresh that out. Okay, so just to start off with, what do you guys know about cloning? And as an incentive, I will give chocolates. You're able to participate more. So start off, yes.
You use stem cells and other cells to recreate, I guess, genetic code.
That's part of it. Sorry, no that forward. Any more people? Chocolate, yes. No.
Copying things.
Okay. Okay, black enthusiasm is not appreciated, but we can move on with other opportunities later on. Jessica, can you please go on that side?
Yeah, sure.
So mostly, a lot of us in pop culture, we see cloning presented in a very different manner. And one of the main cloning is Clone Wars and Star Wars. So can you play that with us? Wait, what? Sorry. Slide, yeah.
Oh my.
There's a commercial.
Yeah.
People making armies of clones that go out and attack other people. In actuality, that is nothing to do with a source of cloning. So moving on to the actuality of cloning. So to start off with, the basic definition of a clone is a person who has a completely identical genetic code. And we see those naturally occurring in nature through identical twins, so it's not always an artificial process done in a lab. And one of the most common myths about cloning is that the person who's a clone is going to have the same personality and character, and they're going to be absolutely the same as the person they're cloned afterwards. That's not true at all, because clones, they are able to develop their own personality, they have their own voice, they have their own fingerprints. Everything, like the characteristic, the personality part of the human being changes depending on their nature, how they've been brought up. So that's one of the most important distinguishings. And throughout a person's life, their DNA can get mutated due to environment and other chemical conditions through which they're not always the same person, but they are going to look like that exact same person for the rest of their life. So some of the problems with cloning start off with the fact that scientists are not able to get the eggs they need to do this process, and a lot of the times the proteins are missing that are involved in the embryonic development of any human being, and that causes it not to work out. So it's not possible to have a whole Star Wars thing where you're able to create like 500 clones at one time. It's just not a possibility at this point in science. And it's really difficult just to get past the embryonic stage. I'll explain that in a while. So some of the more common uses of cloning involve bringing back extinct species because scientists are trying to bring, or trying at least at one point, to see if they could regenerate a dinosaur of sorts, but it turned out to be a failure. They haven't been doing that. Another is to create more stem cells. At the embryonic stage of a human's life, you can get embryos, you can use embryos to get stem cells, and for those of you that don't know, stem cells are cells that can be generated to be used for any sort of cell in the body. So if it's a stem cell, you can make it into a cell for the heart, or for the liver, anything of that sort. It's not specialized. Reproducing in species, human, or animal, this is one of the most politically debated topics because it goes against natural norms of life. It's not a natural process. So it's still a possibility, but the chance of that happening are very minimal due to laws, certain conditions. More livestock to have more food in a society. Cloning can be very effective in third world countries where they don't have the means of getting food. And more animals, medical testing. This is another politically debated topic because it goes against the right to one's life, and animals are considered the same way in the Constitution as humans are. But for medications, we do need other animals, which we test on to see if they're safe for humans. And last but not least, cloning human organs, which can be really helpful when someone needs a heart transplant or anything of that sort, which needs to be of the same genetic makeup as their own. So next slide. Yes, one more. Yeah. So how is cloning done? It's called somatic cell nuclear transfer. So what happens is that you get a human egg donor to donate their egg, and of course it's a female, as the DNA would say. And what they do is they take the egg and they take out the nucleus from it, so DNA information of the person who donated the egg is not involved. After that, they take a cell from the person they want to clone. That can be a skin cell, a liver cell, a heart cell, anything of that sort. And that is then fused with the unnucleated egg and through electric diffusion. And then it's developed into an embryo and planted into surrogate mother, and through normal means of human life, it's born, and it lives a normal human life as any other person would. However, the process seems really easy right now with me explaining it, but it's not that easy at all. As I said, it's hard to get the clones past the embryonic stage, and it's really hard for it just to pass through because of a lot of protein issues and a lot of genetic problems that can just arise in the middle of it. And just to explain why the nucleus is taken out of the donor egg, and that's because an egg, which is a gamete, has only 23 chromosomes, whereas humans need 46 chromosomes, and if you only have 23, it's not going to be able to develop at all, and you need the same DNA makeup as the person who needs to be cloned, so that's why their own somatic cell, or cell apart from gamete, is placed into the body. So just to skip that video. So moving on to the history of cloning. Cloning has been going on since 1885. A lot of people don't know about that, but people started cloning sea urchins and salamanders way before we could even know it. The first person to even try cloning was Hans Adolf Edward Dreis, who was a German scientist. And one of the more common known clones is named Dolly. She was a sheep done by a British scientist in 1996, and she was the first ever mammal to successfully live a life, have children, and then she died at a normal age. And those are monkeys that were cloned in 1997, and they gave scientists a really good hope that one day humans could be cloned because of similar genetic makeup. So there's been a lot of animals that have been cloned this far. Humans are harder to clone. Animals on a different scale are easier to clone. You have all those animals that are cloned that. As you can see, they look very similar. They have the same patch of fur color. And those are cows over there. So, let's play a game. And hopefully, some of you will be more interested in more chocolate. So, start off with, just say true or false. So, a clone would be the same age as the person the cell was retrieved from. You make a clone and they come up to be the same age.
No.
Wow, good job. Yeah, it is false. One of the most common myths as seen in pop culture is that when you make a clone, it's the same person, same age, same looking appearance when they're born, which is not true. It develops as a normal human being. They would look the same through different stages of their life as they would have had been growing up during that time period. Cloning is not a new technology. Any volunteers for chocolate? Yes.
True.
It is. Cloning has been occurring for a very long time. Like I said, since 1885 with animals, and in nature, plants are able to clone themselves easily as well. Cloning is an artificial process.
False.
Yes. Cloning is an artificial process because bacteria are able to clone themselves very easily. You also see identical twins, which are a type of clone. And last one, clone organisms have healthy lives without a lot of health problems.
False.
It's actually true. Once a clones are able to live their lives without any problems, and the ones that do survive are able to have healthy lifestyles, have children, and to die at a very strong age.
But when Dolly was cloned, she aged faster than normal sheep.
She did, but she was still able to live the lifestyle of a normal sheep, regardless of the fact that she did age.
She died earlier.
Yes,
So would that be a health, considered a health problem?
it would be, but to scientists it's not. I'm not going to credit myself as the Utah State Center of Genetics. And just to give an update on cloning, what's been happening just recently, Shukrad Modelkov and his colleagues at Oregon Health and Science University were able to make an embryonic stage of a human clone. Now, what they did was that there was this baby and she had a genetic problem and she needed her own cells to regenerate the cells that were dying in her body. So they made an embryo of her and they retrieved the embryonic cells. And one of the most amazing things about embryonic cells is that they have unique ability to become adult cells. So you don't have to worry about them dying out early. And that's what this baby needed, and they were able to use those cells to make her healthier and for her to have a better lifestyle, regardless of the fact that, yeah, she would have to take medications for the rest of her life. And one of the most biggest problems with cloning is the political debate, which is why it's not very commonly done. One of the biggest problems is that people think it's not natural and it goes against normal means of life. And that's one of the biggest arguments people make, fear of clone armies of the perfect child, as seen during World War II, when Germans were trying to create the perfect race of Germans, just a fear of that happening once again. And so yeah, thank you for coming out. We're going to have another talk called Mathematics on March 14th, which is Pi Day. And Gordon Lee is going to be leading that one. So I hope all of you will come out, invite your friends, and come see very cool magic tricks.
By students, and its mission is to generally provide events, resources, and opportunities for students around the state to pursue their interest in science. And one example of how we're doing this is through organizing talks such as these. And there are different ways that students like you can get involved. Some of those can include creating a WSSA member club, or having a STEM club that you're involved in, become a member of WSSA, or you can attend events such as these, or even apply to join our leadership team. A lot of information can be found on our website, and I hope you guys check it out. Thank you.
And FYI, guys, the website is wasstudentscience.org. If you're on it right now, or just type in the Washington Student Science Association on Google or Bing.